Is all that stuff coming straight from China? I wonder. Let's talk about that. So Kathy Hochul is the governor of New York. She's Democrat governor of New York. And this is wild. The FBI is alleging that one of her aides, deputy chief of staff, is actually getting paid by the Chinese to the tune of millions of dollars. And she was never, ever reporting this to anyone. It's like people have literally no ethics. I'm stunned. So allegedly, this woman, Linda Sun, let's see, we have a tweet from her because she was celebrating Mother's Day. There we go. So you can see her picture. Here's Linda with her mom, and she's saying, Happy Mother's Day to everyone. She's just, all happy, all giddy. She's in the income, one of the cool kids. She's working for Kathy, and Kathy is the governor of New York. Well, according to the FBI, they believe that she was conspiring to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, visa fraud, alien smuggling, and money laundering. This is all according to the indictment, which just came out today. So again, breaking news, everyone. The governor of New York has just had her former deputy chief of staff, Linda Sun, indicted for being allegedly a Chinese spy. And then her husband, his name is Chris Hugh, was also charged with money laundering, conspiracy to commit bank fraud, and misuse of means of identification. Quote, as alleged, while appearing to serve the people of New York as deputy chief of staff within the New York State Executive Chamber, the defendant and her husband actually worked to further the interests of the Chinese government and the CCP. Oh my goodness. It's first reported there. Oh, this kills them. This one really kills MSNBC to have to say on MSNBC earlier today.
Aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul is set to be arraigned in just a matter of minutes for allegedly acting on behalf of the Chinese government. The FBI arrested Linda Sun and her husband, Chris Hugh, at their home on Long Island, less than an hour from Manhattan. It's the same home the FBI agents raided just 6 weeks ago. NBC Chief Justice contributor Jonathan Dienst is following this for us. What more do we know about this alleged scheme?
Yeah, federal prosecutors say while she was working for Governor Hochul as a top aide, Linda Sun was also working as an agent for the Chinese government. They say in exchange, Sun and her husband laundered millions of dollars out of China. Linda Sun and her husband were arrested at their $4 million home on the North Shore of Long Island. The FBI says the pair also bought luxury cars, a property in Honolulu, and took travel and expensive gifts, all as part of this scheme. Sun served in high-ranking roles in Albany, working for Democrats like Governor Hochul, former Governor Cuomo, and then Assemblywoman Grace Meng, who is now in Congress. The FBI says in exchange for those kickbacks, Sun used her position to help communist Chinese officials. For example, the Fed say Sun worked to block representatives from Taiwan from meeting with New York State officials, that she allegedly changed public messaging from Governors Hochul and Cuomo on many issues, including trying to edit out statements about China's record on human rights. The FBI says she also sent unauthorized letters of invitation from New York State to Chinese officials to help facilitate their travel into the U.S. The couple is expected to plead not guilty in federal court in Brooklyn. Governor Hochul's office issued a statement a short time ago that Sun was terminated in March 2023 after discovering evidence of misconduct, immediately reporting her actions to law enforcement, and they have assisted law enforcement throughout this process. This case, just the latest, Chris, where the Justice Department has filed charges related to China and so-called foreign agent violations, FARA violations, here in the U.S.
Jonathan Dienst, thank you for that.
So here's the question. Okay, here's the question, guys. Are we at risk for having more Linda Suns there? I mean, hey, Fang Fang got a gig with the West Coast representative, not so smart there, Eric Swalwell. Remember that one? The FBI was on to her. And we don't know exactly what his relationship was with her. But this Linda Sun allegedly had something to do with China and allegedly was getting paid big bucks. Now, I don't know how you do that. Like, I don't know how you, don't report income and then you're out buying homes in Hawaii and Ferraris and your fancy house in Long Island. How do you do that? without anybody saying, gee, I wonder where that income came from. Well, the FBI thinks it came from China, specifically the CCP. And in exchange for the millions of dollars from the CCP, she was not allowing New York representatives to have the kind of access they otherwise would get to Taiwanese representatives. And then she was spinning messages, allegedly, per this indictment. And so we're left saying, okay, how many others are there possibly, potentially, like that? Because, by the way, it wasn't like Kathy was the only one she worked for, not just the governor of New York. She was working elsewhere. In fact, she apparently had several jobs within the Hochul administration. And she also worked for Austin Cheng, a Democrat who unsuccessfully ran for Congress. I guess that's the good news, in New York's 3rd district. But a $2.1 million Hawaii condo, a $4.1 million Manhasset home, quote, various luxury automobiles, including a 2024 Ferrari. So that must have been a fresh purchase. Quote, Sun never disclosed any benefits she received from representatives of the PRC government and the CCP to the New York State government. Okay, so here's the thing. It's possible, per this indictment, that she was working for China. So I want you to remember that when I play you this little bit of sound and you hear her sort of moral high ground about an issue which most people now at this point and most companies have discarded, this DEI nonsense. Supreme Court made a decision, said, hey, Harvard, you can't, base everything on DEI, et cetera. Well, this woman was just doubling down on it. This is from 2021 and talking about the equity portion of this diversity, equity, and inclusion mantra.
I think, when people say diversity and inclusion, I think everybody agrees, or most people generally agree that it's a good thing, right? But I think right now we also need to bring in the word equity, right? Diversity is when you say that there's, many different types of people with different backgrounds and they're all, invited to the table. Inclusion is when, we include all of their ideas. But equity is when we make sure that all of the people who are at the table have equal access to making sure that their ideas and their thoughts are heard. And unfortunately, I think some of the statistics that you quoted is that we don't have that much leadership or representation.
So according to the FBI, this woman is a Chinese spy, and she was working in the state government of New York. And this is her mantra, right? This is her dogma. This is what she believes in, that we need more equity, equity, equity. So doesn't it leave you kind of wondering how much of that agenda is actually coming straight from China itself? I mean, what better way to debilitate a great nation like the United States of America that believes in capitalism, that believes in everybody getting a shot, a real meritocracy. You destroy it by saying, no, it doesn't matter, because we need these equal outcomes. It's no longer even just access to opportunity. It's how we measure whether we believe you got equal. It is evil, right? Inherently evil. Equal opportunity. We're going to judge that based on the outcome. And we're going to rejigger things after the fact. Because if we don't think that you wound up where we want you to wind up, then we're going to adjust the equation. And we're going to take from you, who worked hard, to pay him or her who didn't work hard. And that's what's so inherently flawed. And so, yes, this woman may be a Chinese spy. And this woman, we heard it from her herself, believes in a kind of system that would debilitate the United States of America.